spread out across the land and killed animals and some people that were living in that area where that happened. But that's an extremely rare kind of circumstance. I mean, what normally goes on, there's nothing that you really have to worry about with respect to CO2. I mean, you're never going to run into anything, any place that it is too high, unless you're in a submarine that all of a sudden malfunctions and you cannot raise from the bottom of the sea.
Is it true that CO2 is heavier than air?
It is, but I mean, as soon as it gets released into the air, the motions of the air mix it, and so it mixes, you know. If everything was absolutely still, that would be a different case, but it's never absolutely still, and it's always mixing and being diluted up into the air.
Wow. Is there anything else you wanted to add to communicating to the general population about CO2 science?
Well, only that, you know, we really need to, whatever we do, it should be based on, you know, sound science. It should be based on things that we're pretty confident about. With respect to what's going on right now, you know, over in Copenhagen, people are trying to change the way the whole world operates, so to speak. And it's pretty much based on theoretical models that really have not been proven to be correct or accurate, or however you want to describe it, never can be truly validated. Now, on the other side, we have the real-world evidence of actual experiments that have been done, which show that carbon dioxide enhances plant growth while it reduces the amount of water that is used to produce a given unit of biomass, so that we know it's beneficial to plant life, which then means it's beneficial to animal life, which means it's beneficial to humans because we need those plants to sustain ourselves. And on the climate side, there's also a lot of real-world evidence. We can look at what has happened to various things, like, let's say, hurricanes, let's say, droughts and floods, as the planet has warmed over the last 100 or so years. And, you know, the climate alarmists always say that with this warming, we're going to have all these catastrophic droughts, catastrophic floods, hurricanes, and so forth. But if you go to our website, look up floods and droughts and hurricanes, and you can see just dozens and dozens of papers that have been studying this subject all around the earth, and you find that this is not true. And so there's a lot of things that the climate alarmists are predicting that we know from real-world observations are not correct. And also, we know what the climate has been like over a long period of time. We know it was as warm or warmer 1,000 years ago during the medieval warm period. We know it was as warm or warmer another 1,000 years before that during the Roman warm period, and so forth. And so the bulk of evidence is against these people in Copenhagen. And even if it wasn't, you still have the thing that it's merely a theoretical model that they're using. And, you know, do you want to gamble that they've got everything in that model or those models that is of significance to the climate of the planet without knowing anything else other than how complex the world really is? I would not want to bet on it. So from that point of view, and all of the real-world evidence that we have that is contrary, you know, I conclude that there's nothing to worry about the CO2 content of the air rising, and that, in fact, it is probably, most likely, a beneficial thing to happen because of what it will do to helping to provide food for the planet.
And with the breath of life?
Well, I like to call it carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide.
Yep.
Carbon dioxide being the breath of life. How do we communicate this to the rest of the world?
I don't know. We've been trying to do it like my sons have for 12 years, and I guess I was even doing it before that because I started studying this while I still worked for the federal government and did a lot of experiments. In fact, I was sort of a co-principal investigator on the world's longest CO2 enrichment study that had ever been conducted. I guess I could tell you about it.
Please do.
We planted some small sour orange tree seedlings in the ground out at our laboratory, the U.S. Water Conservation Laboratory, and we had 8 of them, and we enclosed them in pairs with clear plastic wall chambers that were open at the top. And then through perforated plastic tubes that lay across the surface of the ground inside of these chambers, we pumped either normal air or air that had an extra 300 parts per million through these chambers 24 hours a day, every day of the year for, 17 years. And these trees grew and grew and grew. They grew to be huge. And in that little video on our website that I think I told you about, you can see these trees in one of the pictures. I'm standing in front of them, and you can see how huge they are compared to my body there. But the trees that had, I guess they had about 75% more CO2 in them than the ones that were in normal air. They produced about, can't remember exactly, about 60% more biomass, more trunk and branch volume, more root volume.
That's huge.
And they produced even a greater percentage enhancement of fruit. I can't remember what it was, 80% or 90%, something like that. And that fruit actually had anywhere from about a 5 to 15% greater concentration of vitamin C within it even. So, I've done so much of this work on so many different kinds of plants, and hundreds of other scientists have also. There's just no question about it that CO2 is the breath of life. It helps everything grow better.
I really want to thank you for taking your time today to communicate to the public the science of CO2.
That's what we try to do via our website, so I guess it's hard to turn you down.
Tell them where to go for your website.
Go to CO2science.org. That's CO with the numeral 2, altogether, CO2science.org.
And are there books anybody can buy or DVDs anybody can purchase?
Yeah, there are. We have some DVDs listed along the left-hand sidebar of the site. And I guess on the top there's a place that says videos also, and I think that you can maybe buy them there. Anyway, I think on the sidebar you could click on those. Those are for sale. And we also have a lot of short DVDs that we put on. This last group is called Copenhagen Concerns. Then we have a group called The Scientists Speak, another one called CO2 Truth Alerts, and then we have these featured DVDs. Those are the ones that can be bought, those featured DVDs. But there's many video clips here on the website that people can look at.
Sherwood Idso, thank you so much for being here with It's Rainmaking Time. And as people listen in, they'll probably have questions. I'd like the opportunity to call you back and have you on as questions come in on the blog.
Okay.
And thank you so much.